Om Shanti. So, in today's chapter of Gita, we'll be seeing the 9th chapter, which teaches us the skills, or we can say the art of how to rule the kingdom of ourself, not rule upon anybody else, because this is what we have been normally doing. We can try to control others, we can try to dictate others, we can try to rule others, advise others what they should be doing, what they should not be doing. But when it comes to the self, we find it very difficult to control our own self. So how yoga can help us attain that mastery? And here the opening of a very great, deep secrets of soul, supreme soul, has been done in this chapter. From verse 1 to verse 6, topic of knowledge along with its influence. From verse 7 to verse 10, topic of the beginning and the end of the kalpa, the world cycle. Verse 11 to verse 15, people with divine activity and devilish activity. Verse 16 to verse 20, the comparison of God amongst all as the highest form. From verse 21 to verse 25, the fruit of positive and selfless worship. And from verse 26 to verse 34, the praise of altruistic devotion of God. And he gives us a very powerful insight of how we can surrender the mind onto him by giving this mantra of Man Mana Bhav. So we find that yesterday also, and from chapter 7, we have been seeing in different ways the reality of the Supreme Being. Till 6 chapters, he was explaining about the soul and karma yoga, sannyas yoga, dhyana yoga. But from verse 7, the reality of the Supreme Being. Because we have all tried to know him, but we have still not known him fully. So we have lot of assumptions also about God. And in various ways, as people felt they have realized him, accordingly, they started describing about God. This is why on the topic of God, there is a lot of confusions in the world. Although everybody is trying to point out to that one only. They say that he is the highest on high, he is the Supreme Being, but nobody has the actual realization of that. I would like to illustrate this with a small point, that when we go to some town and where nobody knows us, seeing some newcomer, the people of that town or that village, they start assuming on the basis of the features, maybe this person has come from this part of the country, the person may be like this, so many assumptions. But until and unless I do not give my true introduction myself, people will be just assuming about me. So similarly, we have been assuming about God. He should be like this, he should be like that, and so many opinions thus came out, which started contradicting and creating a lot of confusion and chaos. And finally, when we have so many opinions, we don't know which is the exact truth. So that is why God also claims that when I descend, I reveal my true form, how I am. So till then, we are just assuming. So in these chapters, from 7th chapter onwards, in various ways, he is trying to tell Arjuna the reality of his form. But he does not give everything at once, because that might confuse Arjuna also. And the human beings of this world. So he gives as we go on absorbing. The more we can absorb, the more he opens up. And then we are able to perceive and visualize that actual form of God. So in this chapter, he says to Arjuna, "Hey Arjuna, I will speak about this great deep knowledge along with its science. This knowledge is the king of all education. It is deeper than all deep secrets. This knowledge is highly pure, as it bestows the practical understanding of self-realization. It is a role model for all religions. This can be inculcated permanently and with a lot of happiness." So the praise about the wisdom that he is going to share with us. And except God, nobody can share that deep secret. We human minds, we can know about this world, maybe about the cosmos, not beyond that. Our understanding remains within these 5 elements of nature. We have explored the skies, the space. We have explored the seas, and we went right down, but we were not able to explore our own self. It was easy for human beings to reach the moon and stars, maybe, but he is not able to reach the secret of elevating his own character and having the realization of that eternal self. And that is why when he reveals this, we are trying to match that understanding which we possessed till today with the understanding that we are now getting. In the initial stage, it will create a confusion because they are not able to get in alignment. They are not able to be harmonized. But gradually, as he is revealing, we'll see that eternal form, that is with the third eye of wisdom, not with this physical eyes. And again he says, "I am a bodiless entity. I do not have a body of my own. My working style is divine. I do not function like you human beings. Whatever things have been created are not within me. The entire creation of the world is not within me. I am the sustainer of all the conscient living beings, all the souls. These actions don't bind me, as I am unconditionally stable and constantly free from desires. So they do not bind me. Human beings, whatever action they do, it binds them into bondage, because it is done out of weaknesses, attachment, desire to attain something, so it binds them. But because he is unconditionally stable and constantly free, he does not need anything, he is free from desires, so it does not bind him. I am not a part of this great presentation, but I am the source of all creation. Now, such lines seem to contradict because of our understanding all these years which were within these 5 elements of nature. So, I am not a part of this great presentation, but I am the source of all creation. Of the entire world, I create the movable and immovable world through the authority of my vibrations. Creation does not mean how we create. Many a times we start understanding things from our level of understanding. And we feel, if I do like this, that means he must be also doing like this. No. That's why in the beginning only he has said, my working style is different. I do not work and function as you do. So don't compare me with you. His working style is different. So he is the source of the creation of the entire world. I create the movable and immovable world through the authority of my vibrations. It is just a vibration that he can create, and those vibrations can create so many things. This world cycle keeps spinning. It is a constant moving world cycle. It keeps on spinning. And this is why the time cycle moves. Then he says, hey Arjuna, at the end of the kalpa, end of the cycle, the time cycle, all attain a nature like me. Just as God is beyond all the desires, physical desires of this world, or even subtle desires, divine desires, similarly we also become like him. What yesterday we saw, when we start traveling through the path of light, then we attain a nature like him, and that is when we are able to understand how he is functioning, how he functions in the world. Or become like me. They do not become God. We souls are separate from God. So that he says, just like a child, a son who is so worthy, he's just like the father. He starts working like the father. He looks after the father's business. His ways and acts are just like the father. But when he goes in front of the father, he still remains a child. That does not mean he has become the father. Nobody can become the father of the self. Yes, he may bring up the younger brothers and sisters also.